Backlinks still matter, but mentions move the needle in AI search. I'll prove it, and I'll show you how to track them. I'm Pallen, a brand strategist. Today, we're looking at how brand mentions impact SEO and AI visibility, because in 2025 and beyond, Google and large language models like ChatGPT don't just read backlinks. They read everything written about your brand. That means every mention, linked or unlinked, helps search engines understand your authority, trust, and relevance. I'm partnering with Brand24 for this video to show you exactly how to track those mentions across social, news, blogs, and more. We'll start by setting up a project. It's how I track clients' visibility and find new SEO signals. In fact, when you start a free trial, the first step is entering the keywords or key phrases you want to track. I love that this starts right away. This is where your SEO and brand monitoring work begins. Think about the terms people actually use when they talk about your brand, not just the official name. For me, that includes Pallen, obviously my name or a branded hashtag, even common variations people might type online, including potentially spelling mistakes. The goal here is to capture every mention across social, news, blogs, and AI-powered sources, even if it isn't linked directly to your site. Next, choose the language you want to track. I'll select English for this project, but you can narrow it down further if your audience is local or if you want to focus on a specific market. You've got lots of options. This helps filter out noise so the mentions you see are relevant and easier to act on. Then we'll click Create Project and it will populate in moments. Once your project is created, Brand24 pulls in mentions right away. Here on the dashboard, you can see the volume of mentions and overall reach, which gives you a quick feel for how visible your brand is across the web. Again, I'm using my own in this case. We'll look at a few examples in this video. Each result is listed with its source, influence score, and timestamp, so you can instantly see what's new and what's gaining attention. I like to scan this view first to understand where conversations are coming from, news, blogs, videos, or social, and whether anything needs a closer look. This is a simple way to get oriented before diving deeper on some other things. Okay, next, we'll look at sentiment, because a mention isn't always good news. We're back on the mentions feed where Brand24 shows tone, influence, and context at a glance, but I'm using Starbucks as an example here instead of my name because it's a global brand with a steady stream of public conversation, just so you have something different to look at for the demo. Up top, you'll see the mentions and the reach chart, and notice that little bubble on the spike. This is the anomaly detector in action. That's Brand24 flagging a surge in activity and showing you exactly what drove it. In this case, it's a cluster of posts about Starbucks, holiday drinks, and Christmas cups. Now let's take a closer look at sentiment. We'll click this. I love this view. Let's switch from day to week so that it's a bit more exciting. This view breaks everything down by positive, neutral, and negative mentions. I really feel like this is where Brand24's AI does some heavy lifting. Actually, while we're talking about AI, let's click on this feature. Summarize with AI. Brand24 pulls together the key trends for this project, the overall sentiment, the biggest spikes in activity, and the topics people are discussing most. This is a super fast way to understand what's driving the conversation without reading every mention. From here, I can go deeper into the sentiment breakdown and see how things have shifted over time. And I can do this in a conversational format, which is how I much prefer to interact with data nowadays. I ask the assistant to show me how much sentiment changed. It doesn't just spit out numbers. It clarifies with me, then it explains the patterns behind them. I'm so impressed. This is so helpful because it highlights the events, topics, conversations that shaped the tone over the last 2 weeks. As it loads, you're seeing it break down things in clear sections like key drivers, comparisons, reoccurring themes. Now back on the previous screen, the curve at the top showing you how sentiment has shifted over time, and right below it, the individual posts that make up each category. For a brand like Starbucks, there's always a mix of product reviews, lifestyle content, news stories, so this view helps you understand the tone of the conversation without sorting through it manually. If I switch between the filters on the right, I can isolate only positive or only negative mentions, which is helpful for PR teams, support teams, and even SEO, because the tone of what people say contributes to both how humans and AI interpret your brand. The last thing to show you on this topic, for that I'm going to open the Analysis tab. This gives you a clear breakdown of what's driving your visibility. You can see your most popular mentions, your top public profiles, and an overview of top reach across social and non-social sources. Scroll down and you'll see more detail, sentiment by category, share of voice across the most active profiles, and even who has the largest follower counts in your data set. This is where you start to understand not just what people are saying, but who's shaping the conversation and which platforms move the most attention. When visibility spikes, you need to know why. Whether it's a campaign, influencer, or crisis, Brand24 flags it fast. They not only flag unusual activity, but they also let you set automated notifications so you don't miss anything important. You'll set those up in settings. Brand24 gives you full control over your keywords that you set, what you include or exclude, and then we'll click notifications. Here, set how often you want updates, which filters you want to apply, and how many mentions should trigger a notification. This is where you add keywords like issue, review, refund, just for some examples, and then you're alerted the moment they start appearing more often. You can choose email, mobile, or both depending on how quickly you want to respond. These early signals help you catch shifts in the conversation before they build momentum, which is important for both reputation and search visibility. Once you've gathered the data, it's time to report and act on it. First thing to show you, the AI Insights tab, available from the Pro plan and so valuable for so many brands. Think of this as turning all your mentions into a clear narrative that you can actually share. Instead of scanning hundreds of posts, I get a breakdown of what actually drove the conversion in a report format. So the key events, the topics that surfaced the most, the spikes in both mentions and reach. It's pulling directly from public data so I can see which stories gained momentum and how they shape the overall tone. Super helpful, as I said, for understanding not just what people said, but why visibility changed during a specific period. From here, I can move into reports and share these insights with my team. Now, Brand24 gives you a few different ways to report on what's happening. You can generate email reports for quick updates, export everything to Excel if you want to run your own data analysis, and that might look something like this, or you can build a PDF report. I'll do that now. I can choose exactly what I want to include: mentions, reach, sentiment, top sources, even trending hashtags, and create a clean, ready-to-share summary in seconds. This looks fantastic, and I love that it only took a few seconds. Now, one more option, this is new and it might be my favorite, is the infographic view. It turns all my key metrics into a simple visual dashboard, including the number of mentions, where they came from, how sentiment has shifted. It's one of the easiest ways to communicate what's happening with your brand at a glance, especially when you need to share results with a team. Before we finish, here's one thing every marketer should be thinking about going into 2026. Tools like ChatGPT, Gemini, and Perplexity now act as search engines. They summarize the web and decide which brands to reference in their answers. You can't see those mentions directly inside the AI tools, but what you can track are the signals that feed into them, visibility on authoritative websites, and the conversations happening around your brand, just like we've talked about. This is where social listening tools like Brand24 play a key role. When your brand shows up more often in the right context, you increase the chances of showing up inside AI-generated answers too. Now that you've seen how it works, here's a simple playbook for using mentions strategically. For SEO, track unlinked mentions and follow up to turn them into backlinks. In Brand24, I can filter down to sources like news sites, blogs, and the web, then scroll through recent mentions to spot articles that reference my brand. When I open one, I can check whether they link to me or not. If they didn't, that's an easy outreach opportunity, polite, relevant, and often successful, by the way, because the writer already thought the brand was worth mentioning. For PR, keep an eye on high authority mentions and any spikes in tone. Brand24 makes this easy with automated reports. When I generate a report, I get a clear summary of what happened over the last month, total reach, sentiment, and the moments that drove the most attention. I can see the top mentions, who amplified them, and which topics dominated the conversation. This helps you catch opportunities to amplify good press or step in quickly when something needs a response. For competitor research, Brand24 makes it easy to see where you stand in the market. Inside the comparison tab, you can line up your brand against others and compare mentions, reach, and sentiment in one view. You can see which competitor is driving more conversations, where their reach is coming from, and what's spiking their positive or negative tone. Share of voice gives you a clear picture of who owns the conversation, and the sentiment charts show when a competitor's reputation takes a hit or gets a boost. This helps you spot gaps that you can move into and identify topics or formats that are giving your competitors momentum. Finally, a quick weekly check-in with all of this helps keep everyone aligned on what's changing and why. Mentions have officially joined backlinks as a key SEO signal. They shape how search engines and AI see your brand. So start tracking them and acting on them with Brand24. I've linked to it below so you can follow along and try it for yourself. I'm Pallen. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.